You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 63. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action today. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and I'm excited to share my stories and life lessons with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac. Well, like it or not, we've got 2 more weeks left of 2020. I can hear most of you breathing a collective sigh of relief because this year has simply been wow, just wow. One of the amazing things is that it really does not matter who you are, what you believe in, where you live. This year has affected you in one way or another. It's been an experience we couldn't have imagined, and it's forced most everyone to pivot somehow, which is kind of funny because pivoting seemed to be a buzzword in the beginning of 2020 for entrepreneurs, and it literally became the word of the year for the entire world. I made a number of pivots this year, which included changing up some of my service offerings and focusing more on what I really enjoy doing. I didn't just pivot in my business, but also in my mindset. This August was supposed to be the time when I'd have kids in school and have so-called normalcy in my working hours. Obviously, that didn't happen, and it didn't just not happen, but I got to figure out how to distance learn / homeschool a kindergartner while also becoming the bestie to a Barbie-loving 4-year-old. And you know what's funny? As I say that, I smile. I smile because as many times as I've wanted to pull my hair out and go scream into a pillow, and as many tears as I've shed this year, I've truly enjoyed and learned to treasure this time with my kids. Time that was unexpected, time that has become a gift. And as the new year is quickly approaching, I'm going into this year with less expectations because I've learned that no matter what we plan for, someone has a different plan for us. This doesn't mean we shouldn't plan anyway, but it does mean you should be okay when things go a bit differently than what you originally thought. It also means you should be laying out your goals and thinking about what you want your business and content to look like in 2021. I love to plan, but even that's been a bit harder this year, so I've taken some time during the last month to sit in contemplation as to what I want to create, what I want to provide to others, and make goals for myself. I've had some help in where to begin to plan. When it comes to planning within my business, I purchased the Lean Out Planner by Krista Grasso. Krista is a previous guest and founder and creator of the Lean Out Method. Her planner isn't like a day planner. It's a 90-day planner that takes you through your goals to ensure you stay on focus and maximize how you spend the time in your day. It's a method for creating a lean, scalable, and sustainable business. I bought this gorgeous planner back in October, and it's taken me over a month to sit down and put my full focus in it. A kick was also put in my butt by an email from my friend Brenna McGowan that you heard from last week, who said she asked herself these 8 questions. Those questions all made me say, yes, I need to answer them for myself too. I'm going to walk you through those questions and share how I answered them. Don't worry, you don't need to take notes for this one because I've created a download for you that these questions are all included on, so you can work on creating your 2021 goals as well. Let's start with your income goals. What's the magic number you want to achieve in 2021? Every single day in my 5-minute journal, I write down that I am grateful for the $1 million my business brings us, along with that freedom. No, friends, I am nowhere near making $1 million a year, but it's about having the mindset that it's already happened that I'm focusing on every day. My income goal for next year is a solid 6 figures. This year I've done a lot of pivoting, as I said, and it's allowed me to work less. But in choosing not to work longer random hours, I also didn't hit the income goals I had for this year. And you know what? That's okay. I'm working towards it in the next year. Let's not forget that I didn't get that dedicated time to work that I was expecting with the kids in school. When you think about your income goals for the coming year, take some time to also reflect on what you did this year. Are your 2021 goals realistic and attainable? What worked this past year? What didn't work? Did you have a revelation about what you loved doing or hated doing? I leaned more into podcast PR and course creation and backed up a bit from production. For me, I realized that I loved the relationships aspect that I'm creating, the educational parts of creating and launching a course, helping other podcasters and entrepreneurs grow and market what they do, and the fact that all of that was completed within my own timeline. You see, as a producer, you have episodes going live every single week, and sometimes you have clients who work ahead, but other times you have clients who wait until the last minute or close to it. When it comes to podcast PR, I'm able to research podcasts in advance of pitching my clients to them. I can take my time to create a course knowing when I want to launch. Think about how you want your day, week, and month to look and what service offerings fit that. Then select a number. Make that your income goal for 2021. I also want to encourage you to look at numbers beyond your income. I took time to calculate how many podcast interviews I did, how many podcast episodes I recorded, how many interviews I booked for clients, how many and what media spots did I book, how many courses did I launch and sell, and so on. You can take those numbers and make them your baseline for the year to come. Our next goal question is around how much time you want to work every week. If you come from the corporate world, that question sounds so weird because 40 hours has been dictated to us for so long. 40 hours would have been amazing, though, because I worked a lot more than 40 hours every week. To be completely transparent with you, I have no idea how many hours a week I work. I juggle between work and being a mom throughout the day, every day, so things can be a bit choppy. My stepson started to come watch the kids a few hours a week, so I can now allot specific time on a specific day to work. I start my day between 5 and 5:30 every morning. I normally don't do work at night except for that half hour in the dark hallway while I wait for the kids to fall asleep, or if my husband's traveling, which isn't happening these days. If I had to guess, I work probably 20 to 30 hours per week. I think we should also make a distinction between working in and on your business. I work a lot on my business. This means I'm working on growing the business. I consider this podcast part of that, along with creating courses, weekly emails, social media content, interacting with my Facebook community. The majority of my time is spent doing that, and I love it. This year, I've also incorporated a large amount of my time into reading for work. I've had a number of authors as guests and clients in 2020, and being able to make reading a part of my job excites me more than you can imagine. It's the enjoyment that these activities all bring that make me want to spend more time doing them. As we are still in the midst of quarantine, not knowing when the kids will go back to school in person, I'm going to say that my goal is to work less than 20 hours a week next year. I know that once I have more uninterrupted time to myself, that I'll be able to crank out much more material in a shorter amount of time. But there's no reason why I shouldn't fit that into 20 hours that I'm aiming for. Making my goal 20 hours still allows me to be the stay-at-home mom that I am. Cooking dinner every night, being present for my son's schooling, playing with my daughter, and more. Our third question is, what kind of work do you really love doing? I've already incorporated some of my answer into this in regards to leaning into podcast PR and course creation. I think one of the other beautiful things of being an entrepreneur is to really discover what you love doing and incorporating that into your work, such as my love for reading. Ask yourself what you dread doing in your work and what freaking lights you up that you could work on all night. Is there an activity that puts a pit in your stomach? Listen to those feelings and follow them. If you have a passion for something that isn't a part of your business, can you somehow start to integrate it? Don't be afraid to get creative and think completely outside of the box. This is your business and your life, so start treating it as such. Next, let's think about the client you are serving and who it is that you want to serve. I think it's time we get more specific. I've talked about my ideal client avatar, and as Brenna mentioned in her email, it goes well beyond that. I learned this year that just because someone fits the definition of my ICA, that doesn't necessarily mean that is the person I want to work with and serve. You know what I'm talking about. There are certain people that fit your definition on paper, and then there are those who fit the definition and actually you can click with them. You want to talk to them regularly because they are your people. I want to work with more of my people, the people who value what I have to offer and who I believe in with my whole being. I tell my clients that my job is to become their number one fan. I'm out there pitching them to the rest of the world, and if I don't believe in them or what they do, then my pitch becomes fake. And that's not who I am. Questions I'm asking myself are not only around the type of women I want to work with, but what is it that their businesses are about? How are they making an impact? I'm looking not only at my ideal client, but what the ideal client of my client looks like. I want to change the world, and in order to do that, I have to work with others who are changing the world and have the same goal. At the same time, I love nothing more than discovering someone's message and voice and being the one to tell them that they need to be sharing this with others because of the impact they can make and have on others. This is my way of changing the world, and it's through others just as much as it is through myself. I don't want to work with anyone who isn't a truth teller like I am. I recorded a video a few weeks ago on my IGTV about how we all need to tell more of the truth, especially in the online space. I don't want to work with someone who fibs or lies about their numbers. I don't want to work with someone who promotes their products or services and gives false testimonials or says, quote, learn how I do what I do in just 2 weeks and you can make 6 figures, unquote. Enough with the BS, my friends. I want to work with those who share the truth and have the same standards that I believe in. The next goal will be in finding ways to reach these potential clients, but I believe that in creating content that surrounds your offerings and your goals, you will find those who are your people and your ideal clients. The next goal focus is around what you want to be known for, and I mentioned a second ago that I want to be known for the truth and for helping others. I want to continue to be known as the podcast matchmaker and to expand that into the matchmaker between my clients and big media. My goal is to be the person that represents the truth tellers, the big stories and message, the authors with life-changing books, and to have established connections and relationships with podcasts and media outlets who share the same goals and values. Therefore, they want to promote my clients. Take a moment and think about being famous. What would that look like? What are you famous for doing or saying? What makes you feel a sense of pride? Now take that thought and write down ways you can make it happen. What will it take for you to become known for that specific thing? Which leads us right into how you can become more intentionally visible. In order for you to become known for something and land your ideal clients, you essentially need to be visible. Will you create content for a specific platform? Will you invest in traditional PR, Facebook ads, podcast interviews? How are you going to reach more people in the most intentional way? My goal is to be on more podcast interviews and land more traditional PR for myself. I had 13 podcast interviews go live this year. To some, that may seem like a good amount, and it is, because I didn't pitch myself to a single one. Imagine if I had spent time pitching myself intentionally. I could have had a greater impact on the world and in my business. I will continue to create content for this podcast and my Instagram account and take my own advice in appearing to be everywhere. Okay, friends, we are so close to rounding out these goal planning questions. And now we are getting to one of the most important ones, which is how you will create more meaningful and deeper personal connections. This is something that to me goes beyond your business and into your personal life as well, because that's part of the big balance picture. How do you want to show up not only in your business, but in your home as well? I want to show up 100% in my business and in my home. For my business, this means that I give my clients all of my expertise and knowledge. I don't hold back in general, and I definitely don't when it comes to my clients. I want them to know and feel that I am working my hardest to help them in their businesses. I want to have an agency that exudes not only professionalism, but warmth as well. I love that I share closeness with my clients and my team members, and I want to continue that next year and well beyond. This year definitely threw a wrench in my plans of having kids in school and dedicated time to work during normal working hours. But the beautiful thing this year has taught me is not just to pivot, but to accept the changes with grace and patience. I've been able to fully show up for my husband and kids and recognize when it's time to pause work and fully engage as a wife and mom. The work is still getting done, but the most important people in my life are being cared for. I'm sitting on the couch more than at my desk, and while I have a laptop on my lap, it's the simple act of being next to my kids that they want and they feel. My morning routine starts with my journal and devotional, and normally I do it at my desk. But I discovered that I'm more relaxed when I do it on the couch, curled up in a blanket, and when my kids wake up, they're excited to see me on the couch and not already at my desk. We all get that extra time of being closer together. Ted and I have gotten to talk more about what we want for our future, worked on house projects together, and enjoyed more at-home date nights during the week. I've also been able to connect more with friends and neighbors on a more personal level. We've all taken the time to chat more, email more, and write cards, and it's truly something special. Another important person you should consider in your goals of creating a deeper connection with is yourself. This has been a big part of my 2020 and will continue to be a part of my 2021. I started going to therapy and working out regularly, and for anyone who is already coming up with excuses for either of these activities, you can do them both virtually. Invest in a deeper, more meaningful connection with who you are and who you want to be. This might just be the most important connection you can focus on going forward because it has an epic trickle effect into your other relationships. Yes, this year has sucked in more ways than one, but it has also been a great example of showing us what's important and our need to simply slow down and be present. By being more present, we are then able to create deeper connections with others, both inside and outside of our businesses. I've noticed this especially as I've been getting ready for this Christmas season. We started decorating earlier than usual, meaning before and right after Thanksgiving. Normally, it's a one-day event that happens over many hours, but this year it started with a second tree and family room decorations. Then we got the real tree and decorated it, and lastly got the outside decorations up. There was no hurry, no rush, just one thing at a time. I started my shopping early as well, and since this is a COVID Christmas, I'm having all the gifts shipped and wrapped, so I don't have to add that to my list. I encourage you to look for ways that you can slow down in 2021 and enjoy being present in order to connect with yourself and others. The last part of our goal planning for next year is to ask yourself, how are you going to help your audience be successful? I look at this goal as how I'm going to create content for my audience. This is different from how I'm going to help my clients be successful because I feel a large portion of this will be through free resources. I launched the MSL community on Facebook earlier this year and am providing information on starting a business or a podcast, simple steps to creating your email list and funnel, motivation and self-care, and anything else this group of women want to learn about. I want to continue to show up for them and help them in whatever way I can because them being there means a lot to me. I'm going to keep showing up for all of you each and every week with episodes such as this, where I'm pulling back the curtain into what I'm doing, going through, learning, and can offer you, as well as bringing on guests who are changing the world with their experiences and expertise. All of this is aligned with my goals in trying to change the world for the better. It starts with one voice, one message. It starts with you and me. Friends, I hope this helps you as you look forward to the year ahead. We don't know what it will be, nor can we create expectations around it. But we know that we are all capable of change and being adaptable. Even if there are more pivots around the corner, it doesn't mean we can't create goals around the future we want to create for ourselves. If you'd like to answer today's goal planning questions on your own, head over to themslcollective.com/free resources to download your guide and get reflecting and planning. Until next week, friends, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy.